rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending. What's Trending, presented by Tim Daly Ford, part of the Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. Today we discuss immediate impact. Jay Hill, as the new associate head coach and defensive coordinator, hoping to have just that. He told us this yesterday about his defensive scheme.
Well, I've never been a guy that sits back and wants to bleed a slow death. That is not me. I refuse to do that. I will blitz. I will put every guy at the line of scrimmage rather than just sit there and let people pound us. So that's not my philosophy. Now, you got to have the right guys to do that. But that's where the attacking comes in, is we will try to get them in second, third and long situations, put them in situations where they got to throw the ball on third and long, and then that's usually when people make a lot of mistakes. We try to confuse quarterbacks with our coverage, blitzes, the different things that they have to see. You know, some quarterbacks don't mind playing against drop 8, and some quarterbacks hate being blitzed, and others don't mind being blitzed, but they hate throwing into coverage. And you have to do a good job of going in and assessing who you're playing. And if you don't have the ability to be multiple and all those things that you just mentioned, then I think it gets hard to be elite.
Some keywords there: attack, multiple, confusing. Jay Hill, BYU fans hoping and expecting to make an immediate impact. Jarom, my question for you
is, the E word too.
Where will elite? Yes, he did. Where will we see an immediate difference with Jay Hill taking over as the defensive coordinator for BYU football?
Hopefully, immediately we'll see it all over the place. Now, the first 2 games we're not going to be able to really know. It's going to take half of the year to really assess that, because BYU is going to play some opponents it should beat early on, right? In Southern Utah and Sam Houston State. Then you go at Arkansas. Even after that, you don't know. It's going to take a minute. So I don't know that we'll know much immediately. But in year 1, I'm hoping to see everything go up, because BYU's defense has not been very good this year. There's going to be more risk. What he's saying is we will take more calculated risks. And with that comes certain rewards, right, of increased havoc, perhaps. But also big plays may be given up in that risk. So just prepare yourself for that, because BYU has been very comfortable with a bend, don't break sort of philosophy at times. Now, with Kalani Sitake taking over, play calling the defense in the latter part of the season, we've seen more dynamicism, more exotic stuff with BYU. Simplicity is good a lot of the time, but I think because BYU is being ineffective in that simplicity, people got weirded out by it, and then you want more blitzes. Blitzing every time doesn't work. Dropping 8 every time doesn't work. In fact, Kelly Poppinga had this to say that provided a little more context to what may happen next year.
Yeah, I think that you have to have different tempos, and it doesn't matter. And every game is different. I just heard Coach Hill just say the same thing. There's some games where you're going to want to drop 8. There's some games when you're going to want to pressure. I think the best thing is having a scheme where you have different tempos. You have to. You got to be able to drop 8. You got to be able to rush 4. You got to be able to rush 5. You got to be able to rush 6. You got to be able to do it all. And so just, from what I know of their scheme that they've done for a long time, I know they do that, shooting the scheme. I just came from a Boise State, what I did for a long time with Bronco. That's where we were the most successful, is when we were able to bring different tempos. And really, it's just, you got to be able to pressure and confuse the quarterback at all times. And that happens in all different tempos. So if you just sit there and rush 4 the whole entire game, or bring 5 the whole entire game, like, the quarterback is going to know. You drop 8 all the time, right? So you have to be able to change it up as the game flows and be able to keep that quarterback just guessing. And just, that's what I'm used to over the years, and I know that's what Coach Hill's used to, and I'm excited to learn this new scheme that I've always wanted to know more about, just, going against it, from, the time at Utah that those guys have had. So I'm anxious to be able to learn that. But what I do know, there's going to be different tempos, and the quarterback is not going to be comfortable, and that's what I'm excied about.
It's going to be different, and it's going to be more, as Jay Hill said, more of a Kyle Whittingham defense. So
does any BYU fan have any issue with that?
Utah's defense is great. It's always really, really good. So I'm cool with that, because, listen, BYU's offense the last couple of years has been pretty stinking good. So if you get a good defense in there, now you're talking about 9+ wins. Now you're talking about being in the upper half of the Big 12, which is the goal of the next couple of years.
Okay, so different tempos, and Kelly Papinga's final sentence in that clip we just heard is probably my favorite. The quarterback's not going to be comfortable facing this BYU defense. It's a slow build. It's hard to know. Like, we want immediate change right now. Like, yeah, we want BYU to be an elite defense immediately.
He isn't calling a game until September.
No, it's a slow build, and it's going to be probably a couple of years, if not 3 years, before Jay Hill and Kalani have exactly who they want in this new scheme and system that they are going to run. So I would encourage everyone to be a little bit patient, but that doesn't mean we won't see some differences. The attacking mindset is something that I think we will immediately notice, how aggressive BYU is rushing and blitzing the quarterback. And to your point, that's going to result in BYU giving up a few more big plays. BYU's been really good for the most part in the last 3 years at not giving up like huge plays. This year they had some setbacks, but the previous 2 to 3 years, BYU was really good at keeping everything in front, not giving up huge plays, not giving up those explosive 30-plus plays. And I think that we might have a few more of those, but we're going to see an uptick in quarterback sacks, quarterback hurries, certainly the number of blitzes that are run, the way that the blitzes are being packaged and presented. We will notice that immediately. How the competition handles those, that's different, because BYU is going to be awesome against Sam Houston State and Southern Utah. Yeah. And then we'll see that first real challenge against Arkansas. So slow build, but we will notice some schematic changes immediately. Here's where I think Jay Hill is already making an impact. And he's been on the job, what, 2 days now?
2 days.
2 days? Yeah. In the homes of recruits. BYU's trying to close out some big-time recruits right now. And on social media, it feels like because of the Fano situation, BYU has gone into this really bad place with football recruiting. Well, I can tell you last night, and I can't get into the specifics because we're not allowed to do that in terms of who the players are and some of the specifics that were said, but I'll tell you this much.
Yeah, just the name.
He closed out a big-time 4-star recruit last night. He sealed the deal already on day one on the job.
We love ceilings around here.
Okay? Yeah, we do. We love promises. We love two-way promises. He sealed the deal with a big-time 4-star recruit in-state here already. And I heard from said player's father and said, I haven't seen somebody recruit my son this way ever through this
including the BYU coaches.
Through this whole process. It is a unique thing.
Well, there you go.
And we immediately bought into how genuine and how, like, passionate and almost in a way stern that Jay Hill was. And his message was simple, you know? It just, like, come to BYU, get better, and we're going to attack. And it just, bang. So he's already making an impact in recruiting. And he told us yesterday, we got to get the recruits in state.
Yeah, and he's done a great job at Weber State with that. Like, okay, so I want to break down some numbers that I want to see better next year. And this year they were so bad.
All of the above?
Let's talk about it. Yeah, I got to grab it.
Everything?
So sacks, 130th, second worst in FBS. Success rate, that is, you don't allow 50% of what's left on first down, second down, and so forth. 8th worst in the country. Sack percentage, 12th worst in the country. Third downs, your bottom 13. Fumbles recovered, only 4 this year, like more of that. Yards per play allowed, 104th in the country.
Yeah.
Interceptions, only 7. All these numbers can go way up. And we're hoping, BYU's a top 65 defense is sort of the hope next year. Now, going into the Big 12, it might be like, well, maybe top 80 does it.
Yeah, I'd take top 75, top 80.
Because next year, the goal isn't to win the Big 12 realistically. Teams should have that goal. But for me, it's make a bowl game. We just don't know how hard this is going to be. We know it's going to be difficult. We don't know when the bye week is. We don't know who we're not playing. But if we played the 9 easiest teams in the Big 12, it's still going to be difficult. If you could somehow pull off 5-4 in league in year 1, fantastic.
Amazing. Now you're talking about 7 wins.
And keep building. Now, Utah went into the Pac-12. Granted, G5, BYU's had a better ramp-up than TCU and Utah did in that stark contrast from G5 to P5. But if BYU can make a bowl game and they can be competitive and they can be interesting, like, I'm not going for 8-4 in the regular season. Literally, like, give me 6-6 and keep building. Utah went 8-5 that first year, but then they go 5-7. and I believe 5 and 7 again.
2 years in a row.
It was hard, right? It took them a decade to get to where they are now, which is back-to-back Power 5 champs in that league, which is really impressive and hard to do. I'm hoping that BYU could have a similar track. Like if you told me, okay, it's going to take a decade, but BYU then wins two Big 12 titles, I would say I'd take it over play it out, because it's hard to win a league like that. It really is. And the Big 12 is uber competitive. This year we saw that there's no cream puffs. Like Kansas used to be the laughing stock of the Big 12 in football. They started 4-0, struggled down the stretch, but they made a bowl game.
They're in a bowl game.
That's not just a win now. There's no game where BYU goes into the Big 12 next year where we go, that's a win for sure. Like, when have we done that in league play in the history of BYU football where there's not a game where you can say that? So it's going to be hard, but I'm excited about what Jay Hill is offering. I believe what he's saying because I believe that any coach, Spence, can get hired and say, in basketball, we're going to go up-tempo, and in football, we are going to attack. Those are easy words to say. But he has proven it at Weber State. He has proven it in his time as a position coach at Utah. And now he's got the biggest opportunity of his life at a Power 5 school next year.
The way he talked about the BYU defensive line yesterday and his approach for the defensive line makes me feel like he's going to spend a lot of time really recruiting that position in the transfer portal this year, because BYU has an immediate need on that position front.
And to develop the guys within there.
Yes.
Perhaps there is some of that, because it's easier to do that than it is bring somebody in. You need both.
Go to the transfer portal, find a couple of guys, develop your dudes here, and then hopefully there's a BYU uptick in havoc rate and in getting to the quarterback, not just with the linebackers, but with those guys up front. Yeah, I saw his body language shifted when he started talking about, like, why would you not put 4 huge guys on the line? Like, which says, okay, they're probably going to run a base 4-3, right? Yeah, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
So we got great linebackers at BYU, but like, why would you not put 4 of those guys, those beasts up front?
Starts there.
And so I think he's going to spend a lot of time there as well.